Good evening, all. So the focus of today's video is really about something quite a few of us have been struggling with over the COVID-19 period, but actually more widely on and off during different phases in your life, and that's primarily around panic attacks or anxiety. And I wanted to really try and talk about some of the steps that I take when I go through similar moments of panic or anxiety. And it's really almost like a program of work. So I don't take it lightly. I don't assume that this feeling will just pass if I don't do nothing about it. And equally, I recognize that it's got different components. So the way I think about it is that when I go through a phase of depression or I'm anxious repetitively, I need to think of it in terms of my mental body, my physical body, my emotional body, and my spiritual body. So everything that I do revolves around how do I feel by mind, how do I change some of these thought patterns from a mental perspective, from a physical body perspective. I know that when in periods of depression or anxiety, you feel it in different ways in your body. So some people will feel a tightness of the chest, shortness of breath. Other people will experience depression in terms of lethargy, the inability to move, not wanting to get out of bed. This feeling in your tummy which just will not shake. Very similar to how you'd experience fear. And so on and so forth. So we all experience it physically in different ways. So the second lens that I look at it for is in terms of how can I address this physically as well. The third bit that I think about is in terms of emotions. So what are the emotions that I feel during this point of time, and just being aware of that and almost watching it, observing it, and say, so that's what I feel, and taking a log of these things, actually just documenting it. For me, primarily when I think about problem solving, I think observation and awareness is half the problem solved. So I take that approach even when it comes to things like this. And then the final bit is around the spiritual body. So and the way I like to think about that is that during these phases, you don't necessarily feel like the universe or God or whatever your take on it is has your back, and you don't necessarily feel supported and that everything will work out well. You just feel very raw and anxious at that point of time. So there's different ways of dealing with this, but I am working on pulling together the things that I do, and I'm really keen for people to try it out. So if you're interested in finding out just what I would do on a week that I deal with this in terms of anxiety or depression, send me a message and I'm happy to share this program with you just to try, and I'd love to hear your feedback as we develop it further.